Have you ever wanted to try and fight an entire 4chan comment section with nothing but a toothpick? And in doing so, giving your brain the worst possible information it could ever consume, which after enough time ends with you getting checked into a psych ward. Can you beat Doom Eternal with only the pistol? Now, before you ask, this is basically just a pistol from Doom 2016, but with some minor changes. You see, the monkeys over at id Software made this gun and then took it out of the game because it did about a dick's worth of damage. However, thanks to the power of modding, we can bring it back into the game. Now, the rules are pretty simple. The only gun that I can use in the entire game is just this pistol. And because it has unlimited ammo, I don't have to worry about using the chainsaw. And just for you guys, because you love seeing me get my ass pounded, as a secondary challenge, I'll be seeing how far I can go without using the crucible. And finally, I'll be doing this on Nightmare difficulty, because what's a challenge run if it's not on the hardest difficulty? Will my aim that is often compared to a blind paraplegic be enough to take out the con maker? Will you guys be able to sit through what is arguably the worst gameplay of Doom Eternal you've ever seen? So why don't you sit back, grab a little hug fruit barrel and a basket of tomatoes to throw at your screen, hit that subscribe button because you're about to watch the dumbest thing ever made. Welcome to Flint, Michigan, and after the Doomslayer made the mistake of drinking the tap water, he's permanently transformed into a minion, and now only speaks in shitty Facebook minion memes. After getting our pistol by using the magic chant, we head over to go deal with one of the Hell Priests, because apparently he's trying to sacrifice the entire human race because he needs to download more RAM. So I start off by getting through the tutorial fighting section, and after coming embarrassingly close to death, we head over to have a nice little chat with the Hell Priest, which apparently it turns out he's falling under hard times. So we decide to help him out by giving him a Fortnite V-Buck, before he trashes us by saying that our Jordans are fake. So we ban him on Xbox Live. Before we head out, and immediately I turn into a lobotomite, because for some reason I die 3 times simply because I refuse to run away from the demons. And while I have your time, I might as well explain to you how this gun works. The primary fire does about as much damage as a league ban, and the secondary fire does about as much damage as a league ban. So after getting that part of my ass bit off by the Kakadu, we head over to go meet with the 2 Hell Priests and the Con Maker, where she tells us that what we're doing is bad. But fortunately for us, we're not listening to her, because we're too busy playing the hit game, Five Nights at Epstein's. And we swear to her on our yellow nutsack that we're not going to kill the other Hell Priests. But while that happens, we end up getting jump scared by Epstein, and I get so scared that I jump all the way back into the Fortress of Doom. So after we head back to the Fortress of Doom and grab the Bowser fart gift, Vega tells us that he's feeling kind of lonely. So being the good homie that we are, we head over to go grab the Grok AI girlfriend. So after we head down to Exultia, we do a little bit of fighting before we end up in this arena. Now, the main difficulty of this is not fighting the demons. It's the fact that the game loves to crash here, because whenever I try to mod this game, it always crashes. So after restarting my game, I get bent over and spanked by the frying pan by the Hell Knight. And no, it does not feel good. So after we grab the dash and blood punch abilities, we head over to go see the ghost of Yes King, and of course, we pay our respects. Rest in peace, you'll always be my king. So after grabbing my golden ball and getting through another fighting section, the problem with getting Vega the Grok AI girlfriend is that we have to go through the hell known as Twitter.com. And it's so bad, mainly because watching my aim would give a grown man AIDS. So after we get through the freaky tentacle section, we head over to go meet the betrayer, and he makes our balls blue, but instead of making a shitty joke, I didn't. I decided to head on to the final arena, which is basically just the most bitch-made gameplay you've ever seen, because all I do is run away. And after that, we're able to finish the level. So after we get back to the Fortress of Doom, Vega finally decides to stop bitching about finding the second Hell Priest, and tells us that we have to go to Diddy's dungeon, where we walk into this frozen wasteland covered by baby oil. So after we walk in, we get introduced to the Mancubus, and I'm not gonna lie, this fat bastard gave me quite a few aneurysms. Mainly because for some reason, he has so much health, and every one of his projectiles does about half of my health. But after a bit, we grab the rocket launcher, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. This is supposed to be the rocket launcher tutorial, but it turns into the how to beat my ass tutorial. There's not really any workaround or a specific strategy, you just have to get good. We get over to go get the super shotgun, and was absolutely a totally normal cutscene. I don't know what you're talking about, this looks perfectly fine to me. After which, we head to the final encounter of this level, which had me on my knees praying to the real god of this universe. Because my god, did I absolutely need it with my lack of a prefrontal cortex and awful aim. I got put in the rage-inducing forever box and was about to lose my shit. However, after throwing rocks at my neighbors, I went on my Gandhi shit and became enlightened to another level. And I was able to beat the level before we hop on the New York subway in order to go meet the next Hell Priest. So So after our quick ride on the subway and getting jumped in the process, we head over to the Doom Hunter factory. And while we're over there, we notice that the Hell Priest is violating many different OSHA regulations on the job site. And if there's anything that Doomslayer will never compromise on, it's workplace safety. So anyways, after we make our way through the Doom Hunter base with relative ease, other than my only problem being the fact that I'm an absolute moron and decided to stand on an open grill, and almost, keyword almost, dying on the parkour, but I didn't know, because I may be a complete and utter idiot, but I'm not that dumb. But other than that, we finally make it to the end of the level, where we have to go fight the Doom Hunter. And let me just say, I thought this was going to be the worst thing ever, because the pistol does absolute dick for damage against the Doom Hunter. Until I realize, if I just shoot the bottom, it won't take until Half-Life 3 comes out to kill the Doom Hunter. So after I kill the first one, my reward is that I get 2 more. And this causes me to have twice as much AIDS. And I spend more time running away from the Doom Hunters than I spend actually fighting them. And I basically spend 30 minutes running around in circles. But after that, we're able to kill the Doom Hunters and take out the Hell Priest as well. So, no hit? Anyways, on to the Super Gore Nest, where somehow the demons have the power to use the Orb of Confusion from SpongeBob in order to turn me into the biggest fucking idiot on the entire planet. Because fighting the demons is not a very ass-clenching experience. However, if you throw some lava anywhere on the entire map, I'll somehow manage to end up dying in it. So anyways, after clearing through a couple more rooms, we head over to go deal with a buff totem. And the thing about this room is that you have to pick one of 4 gateways, and only one of them has the buff totem in it. And I died a sharp 7 times in this, mainly because I picked the same gate 3 separate times, because I am in fact a certified autist. So after we head to the center of the Gore Nest, we gotta turn on some generators. And other than the sphincter clenching moments, because I'm in a tiny space and have nowhere to dodge, the rest of this level was not too bad. So we turn on the last 2 generators and escape in the most anticlimactic way possible. Seriously, you have enough time to go to the store, buy yourself a 4-pack of SpongeBob Krabby Patties, and eat them before the timer runs out. So after we head back to the Fortress of Doom, Vega tells us that we need to go get the Tesla robot himself, Dr. Poo Poo Fart Hayden. And I'm not gonna lie, the beginning part of this level is absolute poop from a butt. I would rather get into an argument with an annoying Souls-like fan while having a car battery strapped to my nutsack than ever do this shit again. Because the level starts out with a narrow-ass section where a Mancubus literally takes up the entire hallway. And once I'm able to get through that section, I gotta go fight in a giant arena, where if I touch the ground once, I'll end up like Squidward. But that doesn't even compare to the super AIDS CBT that is the Marauder fight. But before that, we grab the demonic laser pointer and throw Samuel Hayden into a jar before we have to go fight the Super AIDS Marauder. And normally, you're supposed to stun this boss to do damage to that. Problem is, I can't do that. So instead, my only opportunity to damage it was to hit it in the small window where you're normally supposed to parry. And this did about a worm's dick of damage. So I had to come up with some strategies to stay alive, but no matter what strategies I used, they would always fail. And I felt like that one guy drinking the coyote urine with 5 different straws. Anyways, after 3 keyboards cracked and an offering to the sun god Ra, we're finally able to beat this level. Anyways, after we get Poo Poo Fart Hayden, he tells us that there's actually gold underneath the highways, and that we gotta go mine it. So we head over to Mars and start progressing through the level. Other than a couple of minor hiccups, we're able to get to the BFG with relative ease. Now after we go up and fire the big flare gun at Mars, we go ahead and start making our way down there, and on our way we try to take a couple of shortcuts to get to the planet faster, but the game doesn't like that. And after getting a nice generous serving of hemorrhoids from the BFG tutorial section and 2 Hell Barons, we're able to jump onto a plane and head down to Hebeth. Now this section absolutely sucks ass simply because it's so long. And if you remember correctly, I am not only neurodivergent, but I also have a learning deficiency. And I mean, this fight is so long, the only way I was able to get through it while maintaining any sense of skill was to put up Family Guy clips, because this shit was getting mad boring. But after we finish, we head on to Sentinel Prime to go get our greasy hands on the next Hell Priest. Next level, we're on Sentinel Prime, and we want that Hell Priest ass. And while making our way over there, the con maker starts talking about some, "Please, Doomslayer, I need this. My world is kinda homeless." But after we make it through the con maker bitching like Elon Musk when he tried to get onto Epstein's Island, we're finally able to fight the boss. And let me say, this boss was super scary. I was pooping and shitting my pants. However, the first phase was not very bad. It was the second phase that was absolutely awful. Because like dodging your drunk uncle on Christmas, if you get hit once, you're out. And I mean that legitimately. You can take maybe 3 or 4 hits in this fight, and you just die mainly because you have no way to heal yourself, because enemies just don't spawn. And this is made immediately worse with the game bending over and shitting on me by recommending that I use the Sentinel armor. It's a challenge run, okay? I'm not that challenged. But after, we're able to beat the boss and turn his Discord status to invisible. So after we head back to the Fortress of Doom, it turns out while we were gone, Vega tried to download some RAM and ended up getting hacked, and the Con Maker turns off our power. So after we turn the power back on, we gotta go over to Taras Nabad because she said she was gonna resurrect the Icon of Sin, and we gotta go deal with that. So we head down there just to immediately get stopped by a marauder. But in doing so, I made a shocking discovery, that if you just run away and shoot them, they won't be able to catch you, and you can distantly deal damage until they die. So after we get past the marauder, we go ahead and end up meeting the literal spawn of Satan himself, the Archvile. I'm pretty sure this thing created super AIDS. And my god, do I get a generous dose while fighting him. Because oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. You see, because the Archvile spawns in buffed enemies, I can't fight them. Because if I do, I'll just end up dead. So my only option to fight the Archvile is to prevent them from spawning the enemies. The problem is that my mental deficiencies really start to show their head. And my brain only works about 5% out of 2/3 of the time. So after, we head over to go grab our red glow stick. But when we go to pick it up, it snaps off. And we go to go get a new one. And while we're on our way over there, we have a couple of optional encounters. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you, I was starting to lose it. So when I was presented an optional encounter, I was moving like June from Halo Reach because I was out. So anyways, after running away like a little bitch, we can finally go make our Crucible. And we get to go to the Crucible tutorial. And I thought this section was going to be utter AIDS, but it was actually pretty easy, mainly because I had a lot of space to move and run away. And we're able to beat the level. Next level, we hit the streets of Baltimore because we got to give the Con Maker a good old-fashioned spanking, where we meet our final new enemy for the rest of the game, the Cyber Demon. And this thing is so unbelievably tanky, it takes about 20 seconds of continuous fire just to kill it. But after we get past that, we get thrown into Diddy's Dungeon 2, mainly because there's an Archvile, and I'm not gonna lie, this John is worse than Epstein. But instead of heading to the Poke Center on Little St. James Island, I was instead headed to a mental institution, because I was going insane. But outside of that, most of this level is just random combat encounters, and after a final fight with 2 Doom Hunters, we're able to finish the level. Now, on to Necroval 2, where yeah, it's really just more combat encounters, but this time, I'm better at the game. Mainly except for one section where I kept dying over and over and over again, and every time I ended up dying, I had to listen to Poo Poo Fart Hayden tell me about raw argent. And I wanted to shove 2 red Crayola crayons in my eyes and another 2 up my ass. But other than that, and getting through more sections with extremely close encounters, because the game and id Software absolutely hate me, I'm able to make it to the final arena, where I put on an absolute clinic in ripping ass. No, not that kind. So anyways, we jump through the Minecraft beacon and make it to Urdak. So we're on our way to Urdak, and we run into the Con Maker summoning the Icon of Sin. Now, a little lore drop about this, the heart that she's using is the Betrayer's son, and he's canonically 17, which legally makes him a minor, and legally makes this Epstein's Island, which means the Con Maker is basically Jeffrey Epstein. So we go and stab the heart, but as soon as we do, the Icon of Sin immediately tries to escape from Epstein's Island, and we gotta go get him before he causes too much damage. So after we free the Icon of Sin, the Con Maker starts talking about some free P. Diddy, and we immediately want to get back to Earth. So after a mini stroke of trying to figure out how to hit the Maker drone in the head, we align the first ring. And then I get a strut positioned up my sphincter, because goddamn, these sections are bad. The first one, you're fighting another Archvile, which is as bad as playing Overwatch poopy shit number 2. And once you clear that encounter, you have to go fight a Cyber Demon, which is surrounded by a big fat Mancubus, and all of them won't stop clapping me until they get a McGriddle. But after that, we finally go through one of the most grueling and hardest fights in the game, in the Con Maker. And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to beat this, man. It's so hard, because dodging the attacks is just very difficult, and everything does so much. Wait, what do you mean I already beat it? No, I was monologuing. Wait, what do you mean on the second try? So once we get back to Earth, we figured out the portal from Urdak sent us to Evil Chicago, which is basically just Gary, Indiana. And we get started with this escapade. Now, the first section is not really that bad, but once we head on to the next room, I punch my one-way ticket to Arkham Asylum, because for some stupid-ass reason, the game devs thought it would be funny to stick 3 cyber demons in one arena. And keep in mind, these idiots have a health bar so big, it would make a League player look healthy. Oh, but don't worry, like Dragon Ball Evolution, it somehow keeps getting worse, because the next arena is plain awful. So let's check in on how I'm doing. You having fun there, champ? Yep, I do these challenges for fun. Definitely not because I love busting my balls. So after losing my mind ISO speed style, I become a dirty cheater and use the Crucible on the last arch file. Yeah, I know, I'm a dirty cheater. Go throw your tomatoes at me. But anyways, we head on to the Icon of Sin. And the thing is that you would have had to use the Crucible on this fight anyways. Otherwise, it would just be straight up impossible. So yeah, I managed to beat it on the second try. So I'm still a cheater, but yeah, I'm still a cheater. I'm still a bitch. And we end the run by giving the Icon of Sin a lobotomy, and then giving myself a lobotomy, which makes lobotomy number 37 for this entire run. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to spank that like and sub button, because it really helps out with my autism. I want to thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time, where I think of a new challenge idea.